Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Trekyards. He's Commander Cocking.
He's got a Foley and Kapla! What and all?
Kapla and other Klingon-type words. We're talking about something today.
Joey, that's another word. And Ractogeno, is that your...
Tweeda.
Mokdu, ja! Kvocha!
The Shakve.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, there's our Klingon
After that embarrassing intro, yep.
Some people understand it, though, and what a bunch of jabbering idiots we are looking on screen. Anyway, yeah, so, guys, today we're talking about a ship from a game, which is always fun to do. We've talked about a lot of Star Trek Online games and other games like the Starfleet Command and Starfleet Battles and tabletop games and computer games. This is a computer game that came out in I believe 2001, did you say? Yeah. Star Trek Dominion War, which I do remember. I never had it, but it looked like a descendant from Starfleet Command as far as the user interface goes, but also a precursor to Star Trek Online ship battles.
And British Commander as well, I believe.
Yeah, there's more cluttered stuff along the bottom. Very impressive looking game. Unfortunately, I never had it, and I had most of the Star Trek games, especially the Starship simulators. So,
and it's a PC game. It was 95, 90, ME, and 2000, and yet never. I'm thinking it was kind of rare. I know when I stumbled across Bridge Commander, it was when I originally got it in the early 2000s, it was like twice the price you should have paid for it because it was at that point already rare. So I'm guessing. But we're looking at a ship from this game. There's a couple of concept art versions, because these are slightly more HD than what was potentially presented in the game itself. And this is the Cavort Cha class.
Korvocha. Yeah. Anyway, yes. And this one is quite an interesting design as far as Klingon ships go. Klingon ships seem to be pretty skeletal almost. They're very sleek. They're very minimalistic. They do what they need to do. None of them seem or feel very bloated at all. This one seems a little bit like a pregnant bird of prey. Just saying, it's got that kind of bulky center part. And I don't know specifically what this ship was designed for. Like, is it like size-wise? I don't know where it fits. But I have a feeling that it's bigger than a bird of prey.
Well, I think it's probably
fair
to assume it's a Cavort refit or a Cavort Gen 2. Otherwise, why would you have Cavort in the name? And the wings are certainly bird of prey-esque. And so maybe this is their attempt to make a more logical Dominion War Cavort, which is the large-scale bird of prey class, but not literally be the Burrell, which obviously they'd have in their game. That's what I'm assuming. What do you think?
Well, interesting deductions there all around, I'm sure. Yeah, I would say this would be a larger version of the bird of prey. I wouldn't say refit necessarily, but I could be wrong about that, considering how bulky it does look. It doesn't look like the wings are, movable like the bird of prey at all, so I think it's a larger version.
Which I don't think you assume the Cavort would want to do, given how big those wings would then be. And if you can make a Cavort like a Burrell, you've kind of lessened the value of it being a Cavort visually. You always associate them as being the one with the outstretched. But design-wise, it's definitely consistent, and yet for me, it's both memorable and also bland. And I know that's a completely opposite statement, but the detailing is really bland. But the way the spinal, like you said, the ribs of the spine and the back bit, the way it kind of bulks out and goes back, it's really interesting, and I can't use it for something else. But the whole thing, when it comes together, it looks bland as all anything. But it's like, okay, but I appreciate all of the attempted details, and the big details, I should say.
Yeah, apparently this was, according to memory beta, it's got a length of 420 meters. Yep. 4 disruptor cannons, 2 torpedo launchers. So, and it does say it's an evolution of the Burrell and Cavort design family.
But speaking of those, Stuart, if you go to the next picture, then of course we have a direct side-by-side, because you often see things differently in a side-by-side. I don't think it's one of the most helpful side-by-sides, because they're not the same design. But this is still a Cavort in the rough sense of the term.
I don't know. I like it, and yet there's something about it that kind of bugs me. It just doesn't feel Klingon enough. Like, you know what I mean when I said that the Klingon ships all seem kind of skeletal? Like, they don't have bulk for the sake of having bulk. They're like the D7s, the Katingas. They're very like literally a spine for a neck, and they don't have extra padding.
Well, it kind of feels like instantly I look at this and I say, yeah, the neck feels like they've adjusted for one of the designers saying, yeah, the bird of prey is a very thin neck. Okay, let's give it some meat. But I do see this actually more in unison than I thought I was going to, because those back plates, the big shoulder blades, are actually in the Burrell. They've just pulled them forward, removed the grillings of the shoulder blades. So they've actually done a very literal swamping and stretching of it. And so it is actually more interesting. If you then take the middle block, stretch that into the neck, you've kind of now made half the design. So I actually can see the logic. And if you want to make it... Because the bird of prey does look relatively frail, let's be honest. This one does fix those things. So if they're going for let's take this and strengthen it vibe-wise, that actually does tick those boxes.
Yeah, it's almost like somebody had a bird of prey design in like a GUI tool or a distortion tool and stretched it out a little bit and go, that looks pretty good. Let's do a design like that. Because, yeah, once you said that, the shoulder pads, that center part pulled forward, it seems almost reptilian or like dinosaur-esque for some reason. I get a dinosaur vibe. I can't think of which one I'm thinking of specifically, but the head and the neck feels very like an ankylosaurus, I believe.
Well, because if you look at the Burrell, you understand there's not that many Greeblies, really. And the ones that are there are very specific places, and they're all very industrial. This new one, all of the Greebling, there isn't any, really. And all the plates on the neck, yeah, it just feels like scales, which is that's not the style that the Klingons do in that same way. So it's lost what Jim Martin or John Easer have done, or Rick Sternberg with all detailing. It's lost that and just kind of gone for a generic plate, but it doesn't come across the right way.
Well, interestingly enough, the next section, when you mentioned scaling, along the edge there, it looks very Cardassian-like, like the ridges of their neck almost. So I don't know if there was some kind of design influence there, but wow. Yeah, it's a cool looking design. I'm quite impressed with it. I'd like to. I am absolutely, yes. I want to see it kind of in action. To be fair, because usually, as you know, and as you guys out there that watch the show know, a lot of times when you see a ship in motion, it really changes the vibe for you. And this is one I think I would like to see. I want to get this game now. That's what I want to do. To be fair.
One thing I think that backs up those assertions I made about the neck and the shoulder blades, if you look at how the wings are done, bird of prey wings are very thin, and even the connecting point between the guns and the wings are very thin. Here, they're so stout and so thick and so immobile looking. Again, I think it would just take the concept of bulk it up and do that. I'm assuming also that, yeah, because that middle segment before the wings is obviously now bulked up too. So whereas in the other one you have the blades that allow you to go up and down, because there's no functional purpose. All gone, and now we've got this really big aft section, but no, it's a Cavort style, so bigger means more internal volume, and this is a ship you'd want internal volume with.
Yeah, and it is an evolution of the design, because it does say here on Memory Alpha that carrying a newer, more powerful type of disruptor cannon, the cannons were equipped with a phasic shield inhibitor, allowing them to penetrate shields. Ooh, and even the hull of some enemy starships.
What do you think of the head, though, specifically? Because normally the heads in Klingon ships are always very good and distinct. Even the absurdity of the TOS big ball, it somehow works, What do you think of this one?
Like I said, it feels very dinosaur-like. I'm picturing a dinosaur. I think it's the Ankylosaurus, but the head and the stout neck. And that's what I see. I don't see anything Klingon-like, unfortunately. Honestly, it does feel very... This could be a Voth ship. It just has that kind of dinosaur vibe for me, unfortunately. And I can't get that out of my head. That's the first thing I saw when I saw the picture. And I'm kind of locked onto that. And I shake it loose. I can't see a Klingon-like design there. So
you don't appreciate their kind of D7ing of the top, adding those kind of more side bulk. Because if you remove those side longer bits, would it be better? Do you think, have that more stout? Because I can imagine if you take those out, it's pretty much the same as the bird of prey, give or take.
Yeah, but not with the neck. You'd have to you'd have to narrow that neck down quite a bit to have that stick out. And yes, you're right. Those parts on the side of the boom or the the head part do feel very Katinga-like with the way they come out, and even the plating on them, which, unlike the rest of the ship, doesn't have that Klingon feel. But it needs like a mast or a tower like the D7 or something to make it feel more Klingon. But that being said, that doesn't fit the new design aesthetic for the Klingons. So,
I mean, you can have a Negvar style. I mean, there are take more pieces from the Negvar.
yeah.
So, Stuart, do you like it? Do you not like it? Is it going to get a passing grade, or back to the drawing board?
It's going to get a passing grade, but like I said, I'd like to see it in motion. I'd like to try it out in the game. I'm sure I'd grow to love it, and to see different views of it as well, like the back, the underside. See if there's any more details there that we could talk about. But overall, it gets a passing grade for me. I think it's fine.
I know this doesn't help, but I'm picturing the bottom being really like sleek, refined. Like the top is all the bulk, and the bottom is like a shuttle bay or a fighter bay, and it has all these great greeblies and all these great weapons. I'm picturing just extra like small details on the bottom. I want to think adding a shuttle bay or a fighter bay to the bottom.
I don't know if I agree or like that idea necessarily. I'd have to see it, but I don't like keep it simple. Don't turn it into something that it shouldn't be. Would be my first thought. But
fine. At the very least, I want to see D5 style dual cannons at the bottom. I think this would fit that very well. Bring those back.
Yeah. Okay. I was never a fan of those, but on the underside, as adding to the new disruptor feel, sure, why not? Even though it doesn't have those, because we only has 2 disruptors, or it has 4 disruptor cannons. Shit, it does have 4. So there you go. Maybe they are on the bottom, and 2 torpedo launchers. So,
and passing grade from me too. So guys, go play Star Trek Deep Space Nine Dominion War game.
Just Star Trek Dominion War, I think it's called. Yeah. So, go play it. Let us know what you think about the ship in the comments down below. Even if you've played it, yeah. Have you played it? What did you think of it? Are we missing out having not played it? Because we've played Bridge Crew, we played Armada, we played Starfleet Command, we've played a whole bunch of these games. They were kind of my thing back in the day, and I'm surprised I didn't have this one. So let us know in the comments what you thought of the game, what you think of the ship, and anything else you might know about it that we might not have mentioned. So, and don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell icon to all, so you don't miss any of the great content that we do, because we do a lot of lives and cool things with you guys. So,
and in those lives, you can super chat. That's a great way of having your direct opinion, thought, comment, grievance, whatever, come to the fore, and we have to say them all out loud, because that's our promise to you guys. So super chat, even $1, $5, whatever, does help, because this channel doesn't live off its views, never has, pretty much. So support us via the Patreon, the PayPal, the joining the channel, or the super chats, all are essential, and you guys do help. But if you're a new member that like it, then please do if you can. We do need more. Thank you so much in advance.
That's right. So until next time, guys, he's still Commander Cockings.
He is still Captain Foley of the IKS Trekyards.
Kapla. And kapla to you all. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.